Welcome to Wrestling Sphere, where we take a look back at some of the most memorable, and at times frustrating, moments in the WWE Universe. Today we're diving into the wrestlers who, whether due to their talent or lack thereof, have consistently rubbed fans the wrong way. These characters might bring out a laugh here and there, but they also often leave us feeling irritated, especially when their creative potential isn't fully realized. Let's jump right in and explore the 15 most annoying WWE wrestlers of all time. 1. X-Pac, the guy who made fans want to hit skip. During the peak of the Attitude Era, X-Pac, or Sean Waltman, was part of D-Generation X, a group that shook WWE with its rebellious antics. However, unlike Triple H or Shawn Michaels, X-Pac quickly became the one name fans didn't want to see. It wasn't because he was an outstanding heel or particularly dangerous in the ring, but rather due to his sheer lack of excitement. X-Pac is the perfect example of what we call X-Pac heat, a term coined to describe the kind of hatred not born from being a great villain, but from simply being boring. With his small frame, uninspiring in-ring style, and constant scowl, he failed to evoke any emotion other than fatigue. Fans felt like WWE was forcing X-Pac into prime time, despite the growing indifference from the audience. Even though he had some wrestling talent, his smug attitude and lack of progress made the situation worse. Despite being a part of legendary factions like DX and NWO, X-Pac was often seen as the dead weight of the group. To this day, when people mention X-Pac heat, they remember him as a prime example of the wrestler fans didn't want to cheer for, just one they wanted to forget. 2. Eva Marie, the icon of being lost in WWE. From the moment Eva Marie debuted on Total Divas, she attracted attention not for her talent but for her bright red hair and sizzling looks. WWE seemed to want to turn her into a top female superstar based solely on her appearance. But the fans weren't fooled. Eva Marie lacked everything a wrestler needs: terrible in-ring skills, stiff expressions, slow movements, and near-zero microphone abilities. Every time she stepped into the ring, it wasn't anticipation fans felt, it was anxiety. Worrying that she'd mess up, fearing the match would turn into a train wreck. And sadly this happened all too often. She was once pushed with dramatic promos like Eva Marie, "Well, not compete tonight." While it got a laugh initially, the repetition quickly became exhausting. Her appearances turned into a tired joke no one wanted to hear anymore. WWE tried to craft Eva as a rebellious star, someone fans would love to hate but still watch. But what they got instead was a lukewarm reaction. It wasn't the type of hatred you'd expect for a great heel, but rather the feeling of, "Oh no, not her again." After 2 departures from WWE, Eva Marie left no lasting impact, becoming a textbook example of how not to push a star, and a name fans just wanted to skip over. 3. The Great Khali, the immovable giant. When the Great Khali debuted in WWE in 2006, the image of a towering giant standing over 7 feet tall, with an emotionless expression, stepping into the ring and taking down The Undertaker in his first appearance left everyone in shock. It seemed WWE had found a new monster to challenge the legends. But after just a few matches, expectations began to crumble. Khali struggled with mobility inside the ring. Every step he took was heavy and sluggish, as if he was fighting against his own body. His moves, while seemingly powerful, lacked precision, force, and most importantly, emotion. Instead of creating a sense of intimidation, he left fans bored and yawning. The fact that Khali won the World Heavyweight Championship left many fans stunned and even angry. Despite his enormous size, he never demonstrated the qualities of a true champion. His lifeless face, one-dimensional expressions, and grating voice made every segment of his appearances a sensory torture for fans. When WWE turned Khali into a comedic character with the Khali Kiss Cam, the situation didn't improve. Rather than getting laughs, it had fans shaking their heads. The Great Khali is ultimately remembered not for his accomplishments, but as an example of a giant who didn't know what to do with his power. 4. Buff Bagwell, the perfect example of fake. When Buff Bagwell appeared in WWE after the WCW merger, many expected him to be one of the key players in building the next generation of stars. With his muscular physique, smug smile, and self-absorbed persona, Bagwell seemed to have all the makings of a star. But it only took one night for everyone to realize, he just didn't belong in WWE. The infamous match between Buff Bagwell and Booker T in 2001 not only disappointed but is considered the beginning of the downfall of the Invasion storyline. Instead of delivering an intense showdown between 2 of the biggest forces in wrestling, the match was lackluster, disjointed, and awkward, leading to boos from the crowd. Bagwell took the brunt of the criticism. Outside the ring, Bagwell made things worse. His perceived arrogance, unprofessionalism, and constant complaints quickly lost him favor with WWE management. He refused to cooperate, resisted change, and always believed he deserved a higher spot, despite the fact that he clearly didn't. Buff Bagwell stands as a perfect example of someone who had all the outward appearances of a superstar but lacked the most important thing: the ability to connect with the audience. In a place like WWE, where emotions are the strongest weapon, Bagwell left behind a faint legacy as the guy who came fast and left even faster. 5. Baron Corbin, the guy no one wants to cheer even as a heel. Baron Corbin is a rare case in WWE, a wrestler with decent looks, a solid in-ring style, but still hated by the audience, not because he's an excellent heel but because he makes fans want to change the channel. From his time as the cold lone wolf to becoming Constable Corbin, strolling around the stage in a suit and tie, Corbin always brought a heavy, lackluster vibe. He didn't generate the tension that made Randy Orton's presence compelling, nor did he have the annoying charisma of someone like The Miz. Instead, he existed in a dull, uncomfortable space between boredom and irritation. While Corbin's microphone skills aren't terrible, they lack emotion and depth. He often repeats hollow phrases, dragging on without building to any kind of climax. In the ring, he plays it so safe that it almost puts you to sleep. His matches rarely explode with energy, lacking creativity and leaving few lasting impressions. WWE tried multiple character reinventions for Corbin, like King Corbin and Happy Corbin, but the more they changed, the more he became alienated from the fans. It wasn't because his villainy was too evil, it was just incredibly uninteresting. The audience didn't enjoy hating him, they were simply exhausted by him. Baron Corbin is a clear example that being a heel doesn't guarantee you'll be remembered. Without depth or finesse, fans won't waste their time booing you, they'll just turn away and forget about you. 6. Enzo Amore, a mouth faster than his fists. Enzo Amore initially stood out thanks to his charisma and street-smart, brash style. Early on, his partnership with Big Cass made them a fan-favorite duo with their high energy and catchy catchphrases. But Enzo's shine quickly faded, and the main reason was who he really was behind the microphone. On the mic, Enzo could get the entire arena to roar. But once the bell rang, the truth became evident. His in-ring skills were shockingly poor. His moves lacked impact, his ring awareness was clumsy, and his offense was predictable. Enzo wasn't a wrestler, he was a talker who did very little when it came to actual wrestling. Every match of his placed the burden on his opponent or tag partner. Outside the ring, Enzo became even more frustrating. He was constantly involved in controversy, from unprofessional behavior and backstage conflicts to accusations that led WWE to fire him. Instead of taking the opportunity to improve and stay humble, Enzo opted to fight back against public opinion, positioning himself as the victim. Even after leaving WWE, he didn't stop his habit of building himself up by tearing others down. This only made his image fade. No longer was he the beloved loudmouth. He became just another guy desperate for attention at any cost. With Enzo Amore, making noise didn't equate to making an impact. Sometimes silence is the best way for fans to remember you with respect. A respect Enzo never earned. 7. Ryback, a muscle machine. Lacking soul. Ryback was once hailed as the modern-day Goldberg, when he debuted with his massive physique, bulging muscles, and the resounding catchphrase, "Feed me more." WWE had high hopes for him, pushing the image of an unstoppable force of destruction. However, it didn't take long for the audience to realize that there was an emptiness beneath the surface. In the ring, Ryback fought like a tank, powerful and aggressive, but lacked the finesse and coordination with his opponents. He often executed brutal moves with little control, leading to real injuries. This not only frustrated fans but also made his colleagues dread working with him. What made Ryback particularly irritating wasn't his in-ring ability, but his massive ego. In interviews and on social media, he constantly attacked WWE, criticized other superstars, and proclaimed himself the misunderstood victim. Instead of reflecting on his own shortcomings, Ryback blamed everything else. He even refused to cooperate on storylines, threw tantrums for not being made champion, and even demanded WWE rename itself to The Ryback Show. These ridiculous actions didn't make him appear cooler, they just wore out the patience of the audience. Ryback is a perfect example of a wrestler who was pushed too quickly without a solid foundation. When the outer layer of hype peeled away, all that remained was a heavy shadow, shouting for attention long after the spotlight faded. 8. Nia Jax, the combination of strength and lack of control. From the moment she debuted, Nia Jax made a strong impression with her imposing size and commanding presence. WWE had high hopes for her as the monster of the women's division, a rare character in that era. But over time, what people remembered about her weren't her victories, but the accidents, botched moves, and the uneasy feeling every time she stepped into the ring. Unlike many other female wrestlers, Nia focused on sheer power. However, her inability to control her strength, combined with inaccurate moves and slow reactions, turned her into a nightmare for her opponents. From Becky Lynch suffering a broken nose to Kairi Sane nearly sustaining a head injury, and several other smaller mishaps, fans quickly dubbed her the silent disaster. What made things worse was her reaction to the criticism. Instead of taking responsibility, Nia often appeared indifferent or even mocked fans on social media. Her arrogance, which didn't align with her actual skill level, only made her more off-putting to the wrestling community. Although she held the women's championship, few champions have received as much negative feedback as she did. Her matches were often considered lackluster, emotionally disconnected, and lacked respect for her opponents. Nia Jax is a clear example that being strong doesn't automatically make you popular. In the world of WWE, uncontrolled danger isn't a captivating factor. It's something that makes fans turn away. 9. Virgil, a faint shadow in the glory of others. Virgil was once the loyal bodyguard of the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, an often overlooked role that briefly gained attention when he unexpectedly rebelled against his boss. In that moment, there were hopes that he would step out of DiBiase's shadow and build a career of his own. However, those hopes quickly faded into illusion. The biggest issue with Virgil was that he simply lacked the qualities needed to be an independent star. While he had a decent physique and an easily recognizable look, he lacked both in-ring skills and the ability to connect with the audience. When given opportunities, Virgil's awkward movements, weak strikes, and emotionless expressions made it clear he couldn't deliver on the big stage. To make matters worse, after leaving his role as DiBiase's servant, Virgil never escaped that definition in the eyes of the fans. He didn't possess the personality strong enough to carve out his own identity. Every time he appeared, people remembered him only as the guy who followed someone else, rather than as a character with a lasting mark of his own. Behind the scenes, Virgil wasn't well regarded by his peers either. Many reported that he frequently self-promoted, boasting about his time with WWE, despite the fact that, in reality, few people remembered him that fondly. Virgil didn't cause controversy in an overt way, but his very existence became irritating due to his bland attempts to stand out. Unfortunately, you can't shine in the dark, even if you spend your whole career in the spotlight. 10. Jinder Mahal, a controversial champion. When Jinder Mahal won the WWE Championship in 2017, he became one of the most controversial champions in WWE history. Despite having a long career, Mahal was never regarded as a top-tier superstar, and the decision to give him the title left many fans feeling frustrated. At his core, Jinder Mahal wasn't a terrible wrestler. He could execute basic moves quite effectively, but his style lacked creativity and any defining flair. While he had a strong physique, he didn't stand out through his wrestling ability or emotional connection with the audience, two crucial traits of a true champion. Compared to the legendary champions who came before him, Jinder lacked the charisma and couldn't maintain long-term appeal. Furthermore, WWE's decision to present Mahal as a symbol for the Indian market sparked significant backlash. Many saw this move as a commercial ploy rather than a reflection of WWE's professionalism. Fans felt like the title was handed to someone who wasn't truly prepared for the role, making the decision even more shocking. Even as champion, Jinder Mahal couldn't escape the shadows of the legends before him. Without external factors bolstering his presence, it's hard to remember him as a great champion. 11. Kane, a forgotten nightmare. Kane, once known as the Big Red Machine, stands as one of the most memorable characters in WWE history. However, his career eventually fell into repetition and a lack of innovation, causing his image to become stale and less captivating over time. While WWE built him up as a dominant villain, ironically, this became his greatest flaw. Kane first debuted at Bad Blood in 1997, facing The Undertaker, and immediately made an impact with his monstrous presence capable of destroying anyone in his path. However, over time, the constant portrayal of Kane as an unstoppable, angry beast led to a lack of character evolution, making his matches predictable and lacking the element of surprise. Although Kane won major titles like the WWE Championship, his victories never left a lasting impression. His image remained confined to that of the angry giant, and his promos lacked the depth to stand out compared to legends like The Rock or Stone Cold. Kane's inability to connect with the audience on a deeper level made it hard for him to evolve past his initial persona. Kane's career serves as a reminder that without creativity and growth, even the most powerful characters can fade into obscurity in the minds of fans. 12. Titus ONeal, big steps but lacking endurance. Titus ONeal, with his imposing physique and approachable personality, was once expected to make a big impact in WWE. Initially part of the primetime players alongside Darren Young, the duo quickly gained attention for their humor and dynamic chemistry. However, Titus's career struggled due to a lack of consistency and the inability to maintain long-term momentum. Despite his impressive physical attributes and natural talent, Titus's in-ring skills never quite reached the level needed for sustained success in WWE. His matches often lacked intensity and emotional depth, leaving the audience feeling disconnected. While he had immense potential, Titus was unable to create truly memorable moments, especially when compared to his contemporaries. His matches didn't leave a lasting impact, which affected his career growth. Outside the ring, Titus also faced challenges in engaging with the audience. Though he had the ability to express himself, he lacked a distinct personality to stand out and carve out a unique identity. This made it easy for him to get lost in the larger WWE storylines, even though he had memorable moments along the way. Titus ONeal is a prime example of a wrestler with potential who struggled with consistency and creativity, which ultimately prevented him from achieving long-term success in WWE. Though capable, the lack of a breakthrough kept him from reaching the heights fans had hoped for. 13. David Otunga, from lawyer to forgotten wrestler. David Otunga, one of WWE's more unique figures, gained attention not only for his physique and communication skills but also for his rather unclear career trajectory. Before joining WWE, Otunga had a successful background in law and acting, yet he never truly carved out a strong presence in the wrestling world. Otunga debuted as part of the New Nexus, and later as A-list David Otunga, but he never made a significant impact in his matches. While he had an impressive build and was a solid communicator, he lacked the necessary in-ring skills to stand out in WWE. His matches often lacked drama and creativity, elements that WWE fans expect in a compelling bout. Otunga even took on a managerial role alongside big stars like John Cena, but even standing next to legends he failed to shine. His in-ring performances were unremarkable, and he soon faded into the background throughout his career. Outside the ring, Otunga had opportunities to pursue a media career. However, his roles as a commentator, trainer, or even actor only further cemented his status as a shadow in a world filled with brighter stars. Without the presence of major personalities during his era, David Otunga might have been forgotten entirely as a mere experiment in WWE's programming. 14. Maurice, the Bad Girl, lacking depth. Maurice, one of WWE's notable figures, quickly won over audiences with her alluring looks and confident charisma. However, her career faced significant hurdles due to a lack of technical skill and character development, making her a frustrating figure for fans, despite WWE's high expectations for her. Although she won the WWE Divas Championship in 2008, Maurice's wrestling style lacked creativity and failed to leave a lasting impression. Her matches were often uninspiring, missing the emotional depth that fans look for, and as a result, she struggled to stand out. Instead of establishing herself as a solo star, Maurice often faded into the background when compared to iconic figures like Trish Stratus, Lita, or Mickie James. Additionally, her acting performances, especially in promos and interviews, were often criticized for being stiff and unnatural. She frequently relied on her bad girl persona, and the repetitive nature of her roles hindered her from developing a deeper, more unique character. Moreover, her relationship with The Miz, while entertaining, ultimately diminished her ability to shine as an independent star. Despite achieving some success, Maurice is a prime example of how a lack of creativity and character growth can prevent a WWE talent from maintaining a long-term position at the top. 15. Hornswaggle, the annoying little person. Hornswaggle, standing at just 4 feet 2 inches, became one of WWE's more memorable characters, though not in the way many fans had hoped. As part of humorous storylines, he often served as an entertaining element in matches. However, the repetition of these comedic situations made him feel stale and lacking in appeal. While fans might have laughed at his antics, WWE's failure to develop him beyond these humorous roles prevented Hornswaggle from advancing further. He was used primarily as a tool for comedic moments, which left his wrestling career lacking depth. His matches were rarely competitive, and they failed to make a lasting impact. Although popular for a time, once the humor wore off, Hornswaggle gradually became a forgotten character. Instead of evolving into a wrestler with skill and creativity, he became forever associated with the image of a troublesome little person, never truly standing out in WWE. And that wraps up our list of the 15 most annoying WWE superstars of all time. Each character on this list has its own unique story, but they all share one thing in common. They became the annoying part of WWE for fans. Perhaps they were once filled with potential, but due to a lack of creative direction, they never truly rose to the level of true stars. Still, they remain an essential part of WWE's history, leaving moments that fans just can't forget. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Wrestling Sphere for more exciting videos ahead. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.